channel.
Okay, Beyond? Perfect, excellent.
Where are we?
I'm calling to order the advisory committee of the Marine and Environmental Resource Task Force for the town of Fort Myers Beach. Could everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, with that, I'll start with the roll call to ensure we have a quorum. Bill Altoff.
Here?
Sharon Hagstrom.
Here.
Robert Howell. David Nussbaum here. Ed Rude.
Here.
Jennifer Rusk said she would be absent. Leo Sand.
Here.
Okay.
I believe Robert Howell also said that he was going to
Yeah,
be
he
out.
sent an email.
I'm sorry.
Yep,
Okay, so
They could
we
both
do
be-
have a quorum,
Right, if we could have a motion to excuse them.
certainly.
So moved. Seconded.
Okay, motion made and seconded to excuse Robert Howell and Jennifer Rusk.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Also moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion or additions? Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have minutes from our Thursday, April 10th meeting. I would accept a motion to approve the minutes of our April 10th meeting.
I'll put that out, motion to approve the minutes as written.
Bill Eltoff, is there a second?
Second.
Leo, seconds. All those in favor, motion made and seconded, any discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We are now down to public comment, and I see we have a gentleman here. Would you like to make a public comment?
I'll wait.
Oh, wait, okay. Seeing no one else here, I'll close public comment. All right. Current items on the list. This is a carryover from our meeting last week, and we had some discussion on it regarding the invasive exotic vegetation in the environmentally critical zone. The reason we wanted to talk about this a little bit is there were some people, I believe Ed brought this up about getting some of the Australian pines off of the beach. And I said, is there some way that we can get a special permit to allow vehicles or something on there in case some of them are too big? Or can we get something and ask the town if they can provide some speed pass so that we can assist the owners getting rid of some of that stuff? So that was our discussion and asking our staff liaison if there's something that he feels we can do.
Yes, so we have done it in the past as staff, pre-in times. We've gotten field permits, and generally the condition is not during sea turtle or bird nesting season. But we can absolutely get a field permit. It would typically be conditioned that we cut it at the substrate and treat it with a EPA-approved herbicide.
Okay,
And so it would be after November 1st. It would be after November 1st.
Yes, sir, unless we got some sort of concession from the FWC to proceed sooner, but I think bird nesting season is probably the greater concern because, I mean, we have our beaches are pretty well monitored and the Australian pines are up in the vegetation, not necessarily out on the dune crest, so it's behind the primary dune for the most part.
Right.
So I don't think sea turtles are as much of a concern, just from my humble opinion, but we'd have to ask FWC on that. And then the bird nesting is a bit more with the roving chicks, and you're in vegetation and may step on them. So I think that's probably, from a practicality standpoint, that's probably the bigger concern.
How long does it take to get a permit like that?
30 days or less.
Oh, okay. That's
Or your
not-
pizzas
not a
for
big
free.
deal. Yeah, okay.
And then I had, just dovetailing on that a little bit, Chad, driving up and down Estero Boulevard, going by some of the places, and I'm not just singling any two properties out, but the red coconut is like a nursery for the Australian pines growing there. You can literally see 3 different years
Sure,
of them since the storm.
sure.
And where the old Junkanoo used to be is another area where they've gotten a foothold. And as I drive around, I see a lot of the empty lots where they're just going in.
Right. So that's, I mean, that's out of the EC, but I think it's definitely worth a discussion. I had the same observations where you see mature Australian pines on private property, and then you see a proliferation of saplings around there. So we can make an effort to maybe contact these property owners and maybe seek permission to hold harmless, and like as a volunteer group, if somebody wants to organize that, and I can help facilitate that with just a, you know, just a feel-good volunteer. You know, we can get in there and remove what's happening, because all that, you know, they're called invasive for a reason. They are going to proliferate and take over as a monoculture.
Well, is it safe to assume, a question, they weren't nearly as noticeable or as prolific before Ian? So I'm assuming that they were being dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a consequence of the state of properties not being built, and it's just not as well kept when somebody's not living there.
Yeah, and evidently, they had been being kept up with somewhat even out on the beach.
Yeah, like I said, staff has, I believe, my first couple of years, you know, I saw the issue, got it permitted, went out with Public Works. We you know, staffing resources since
So-
Ian and
yeah,
other issues of
Yeah,
taken over.
so basically, since Ian, there's been more important things, and everyone has been spread thin. And so this has been something that just kinda overlooked the last 2.5, 3 years, going on 3 years.
Yes.
And it's amazing to me that these things have, that they take off like that in just 2.5 or 3 years. They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that
They're all over the place.
and the scaevola is also an issue. I mean, we have private properties with scaevola. Scaevola is that kind of banana leaf, longer leaf shrub. We see a lot of that on private property as well as out on the beach, and that's another one where we would, you know, cut it at the substrate. Otherwise, it will take over. And
Well,
it's
then,
amazing
yeah.
how much of that scaevola actually survived after Ian. That, you know, between those and sea grapes were probably 2 of the biggest survivors on the beach after Ian.
Well, then that being said, if we organize some type of a volunteer workforce to take the stuff off the beach, those could be identified at the same time and dealt with at the same time.
I think, you know, I think a great idea is around Christmas time, when we can do a fundraiser for your 501c3. You know, you can sell Christmas trees and get a tent, get the Boy Scouts out, and sell Christmas trees.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, bringing this back in, obviously, you know, the town council could make a recommendation
Sure.
to the owners, but, and some owners may take it to heart, and others, obviously, you know, have kind of
Yep.
ignored even taking buildings down, so.
The code in chapter 10 for commercial and multifamily, 3 or more multifamily units, there's in the code, whenever they do their development, commercial properties are required to maintain the property invasive, exotic, free, in perpetuity. So that is a stipulation on the commercial properties, and we could contact the property owners and give them some education and say, hey, these guys are gonna take over and it's only gonna get worse and it's only gonna get more expensive as they get bigger to remove them.
Right.
Let's do something. The single-family homes are a little bit more of a challenge, especially the ones where, you know, they have some houses out there, they love their Australian pines. So, it's a challenge. The code, doesn't give me a whole lot of power to go in there and say, hey, you can't have these exotic species. We need education and get some buy-in from those property owners.
Okay.
And if it's an expense thing, I think that's where we can leverage between community support and maybe going, you know, I've got some high schoolers that I can, you know, make available and get it done.
And you can count on Beach Talk Radio to help organize volunteers as well.
Right. Okay. Do we wanna make any, advisory statement to the council?
Does the council have to be asked in order for you to apply for the permit?
Not necessarily. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know if I don't know if we did that, if it was mentioned in the last Murph meeting, or if I just kind of did it. It's the right thing to do, but it's always nice to have councils buy in and educate them with what's
Okay.
going on. So I don't think it hurts. And motion to put it on paper is always a good idea.
Okay.
Well, you talked about Australian pines, the second one that you mentioned. Are there other exotic plants that we can just lump into this, or?
Yeah, we could just say
Universally call it?
category 1 invasive exotics would be would cover it all, and you know that's the Brazilian pepper, Australian pines, Scaevola toccata, which is beach napuka or is a common name. So those are the main 3 that you'll see around, but there's dozens that are on the Florida invasive exotic plant list.
But I think we ought to keep a broad umbrella on it, just,
Yeah.
you know, otherwise you could get down to the minutia of dandelions
Sure.
and, yes,
Well,
which,
yeah, category 1 invasive exotics would give that umbrella.
I think Scaevola and Toccata is going to be my next owner name.
There you go.
Or
Make a
what was the
dance.
other one you said?
Brazilian pepper.
No, no, no.
Brazilian
The,
pepper dance.
the sounded Hawaiian.
Oh, beach napuka.
Beach Napuka. I think I like that better.
Yeah. I think it is Hawaiian actually.
Come
It's
see
where
the Beach Napuka.
Napuka.
Napuka. Holden Court.
Probably saw it in Hawaii.
so Ed, you started this off, do you wanna make a motion way back when?
So we'd be making a motion to present it to the council?
Just present to the council that we would like staff to be able to issue, beach permits for the control of category 1,
Invasive.
invasive plants, and also to have the council encourage private homeowners and multi-family residents to control the spread of invasive one.
Okay, so I make a motion that this be presented to the council to instruct the application for the permits for the invasive, the stage 1 invasive species, and also about looking into notifying the private property owners.
Yes, sir. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Second.
All right, any further made and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries, thank you. Hopefully we can get some traction under that and get them under control, cause it is, every year it's gonna get worse and worse, and
More expensive.
more expensive, okay.
It's a growing problem.
Ah!
There you go.
Next on the list is the Mulholland Award. And this is something that Murph, as a committee, generally takes the applications from the public sector. And this was an award that hasn't been done in the last couple of years, obviously, because of Ian, so, I would like the advisory committee to, agree to, send out applications through our public information officer for nominations. And if Chad wants to give a little background, he's probably got a little more on it than I do.
My understanding of the Mulholland Ward, I don't have it in front of me to read it off, but for a community member or a community group who's gone above and beyond to for the benefit of the environment, to put it short.
And it was named after one of the first mayors and founders of our island, I believe.
Yes, yeah, it's a shame Bill Perry
John.
isn't here. He could give us the whole history, but
It's
yes.
John, yes, named after John Mulholland originally. I don't think that he was the first mayor, but he was instrumental in the incorporation of the town along with Dan Hughes. I think he and Dan Hughes did all the filing and all the paperwork and everything that was required for the town to incorporate.
Okay, just, here's the background. The Mayor John Mulholland Stewardship Award is given annually to individuals, businesses, and nonprofit organizations nominated by citizen input and chosen by the MERTF Committee and Town Council to honor the voluntary participation in awareness, education, and preservation of our community's natural resources. The award is named in honor of former Mayor John Mulholland, who is credited with the formation of the town's Marine Resource Task Force. Based upon applications to receive the MERTF Award, okay, that's on a different one. So, that's kind of the history behind it, and I just wanted to get that added to our agenda, because it hasn't been done. I realize that we had a lot of very important things to do since Ian, but since we're trying to get back to normal, we should go back to normal, and with the committee's consent, I would like to make a motion that we have the applications for the nominations for the Mulholland Award be sent to our PIO to be available, and the citizens present their nominations so that we can determine, go through the applications at our meeting.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. I'm glad we can get back to a little bit more of normal every month. Okay, next on the agenda is our shorebird, and turtle nesting season. And I've got a little shorebird update, but Chad, if you wanna just kinda do some of the do's and don'ts real quick on turtle nesting.
Sure. Happy first day, official day of sea turtle nesting season. I think they've had a half dozen or so false crawls up in Bonita and at least one nest. So they are definitely around town, so to speak. For the do's and don'ts, please, look at your lighting. Look at your lighting from the beach. If you live on the beach or your house is visible from the beach, chances are any exterior lights would be directly or indirectly visible from the beach, and your exterior lighting should be converted to long wavelength, downward directed, and shielded fixtures. Long wavelength means that it is only emitting the light wavelength that is greater than 560 nanometers, which we see as amber to orange and red light. It's important to look at the manufacturer specifications and find that little NM, that's Nancy Michael, NM for nanometers, and make sure that it's 560 or greater. If it doesn't mention nanometers, but it still is orange or red or yellow, chances are it is still emitting non-long wavelength light because it's just a white light source in a film-covered bulb, and it would still, on my spectrometer, it would still show that there's blue light being emitted, and the turtles would see it a lot more than they would see the long wavelength light, and it would cause an issue both with their nesting behavior for the mamas and the hatching behavior for the hatchlings going towards that light or and becoming disoriented. So please look at your lighting. Also, interior lights are a significant source of lights. We've had multiple disorientations caused by interior lights, so please, blackout curtains are best. They stop any interior light from being visible. Storm shutters down, that's another option if you have those storm shutters. But please draw your curtains and look at your interior lights to move any full spectrum lights away from the windows so they're not as visible and as bright, and draw your curtains. People kind of laugh, and this is just a suggestion, but those long wavelength lights, they do create a nice ambiance. If you need like a night light to walk around in your house or your condo, those long wavelength lights, they screw in just like any other bulb if they're A19 bulb, and you can install them in a spot where you need light at night and you want to have and get around without tripping. And the added benefit is it doesn't have that blue light that wakes you up as much and kind of disturbs your sleep pattern. So, and it kind of looks like a little glow campfire in your house. So it's a little warm ambiance. So it's not the worst thing. So it's for a good cause.
The lighting time frame is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., correct?
No, sir. So our code reads from sunset to sunrise is defined as nighttime, and that will change as the Earth orbits around the sun.
Sure.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir. Also, if you have contractors working, please email them in writing. Make them aware that they are responsible for any lighting issues that are happening while they're under contract, as well as the property owner themselves. So if your contractor does it, you're still liable as a property owner. So please get in touch with your contractor. Temporary shades, temporary paper shades, notes on light switches, motion detectors on lights are great because that gets them to go off if nobody's walking around, and kind of makes it a little bit more idiot proof, so to speak. So especially for the rentals, and it also saves you electricity. So that's motion detector on interior lights are a great thing. We have them in our offices. I'm sure it saves the town a lot of money, and I would also encourage that as well. If anybody has any questions on where to get bulbs or what they need to do, please don't hesitate to send me an email or give me a call. I'm happy to help.
Chad, there were some little cards that someone had at one of the presentations where you could hold it up and actually see if the light was a good light or not so good light. Are
Right.
those still available, or?
It's a blue film. Turtle Time has supplied us in the past. I did mention it to Miss Eve the last time we had spoken, and she's going to look into it. I think she has the film. It's a blue film, but they've got you kind of have to place it in cardboard. It's a good, quick indicator. It's not a foolproof indicator, but it is educational, and it's a good layperson's tool to say, you can see the light streaming through the blue film, and it also shows you that even the sometimes these sea turtle friendly lights that you can see directly the light source. You can also see it through that blue film, which emphasizes why the lights also need to be shielded. So I will follow that up with Turtle Time and see if we can get something. And I can reach out to maybe Sea Turtle Conservancy. I don't know if that's something that they have the funding for to hand out, but I know Turtle Time has the film. If there's people that want to volunteer and help Turtle Time create these little, the cardboard around the blue film to make it people friendly, great. You
It
know,
was just,
maybe we can get that little blue film on your glasses and kind of tape it up and.
well, I thought it'd be good for a lot of the beachfront property owners, that they could go out and just kind of, if they had a doubt, they could go and check, and it's kind of a quick, easy, here's the thing, so
Yep.
on and so forth, so.
Yep, good educational tool, absolutely.
Especially if you have multiple owners, in a condo or something, and you can go out and do a quick read on your building,
Yes.
so on and so forth, so.
Does somebody have the more sophisticated equipment too?
I do,
Okay, you do, okay.
but it's not something I could loan out.
No,
I
I
forget the cost of it, but it was 4 figures.
So you mentioned shielding. There's a lot of lights that are amber lights, but they're not shielded
Correct,
all over the island.
correct.
And they need to be shielded,
I
right?
have my work cut out for me.
Yeah, okay, I just was checking, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Well,
Th-
so you're gonna go to shorebird nest?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure Chad was done.
Okay.
Yep, so May 1st, I am going to be out on the beach tonight to celebrate, if anybody wants to come and party. And,
Fireworks?
Look for lights.
Ooh.
Oh,
No fireworks, nope, no sir. Y'all won't let us have fireworks out on the beach per your code, but if you'd like to change that, let me know.
Well, plus it's a burn ban on the
Yes.
county.
You're gonna
There
be
you
the
go.
one walking around with the light, the white light?
Sorry?
You're gonna be the one walking around with the white light on the beach?
No, sir. I only have red light. I'm gonna have some red film over my headlights, and we'll be as turtle friendly as can be. I can't do anything about my computer screen that I'm gonna be entering in issues, but
So
I'll
we'll
be
call you
as
Roxanne.
turtle friendly as possible. Sorry.
We'll call you Roxanne, because you put out the red light.
There we go.
Thank you, Counselor.
Been called worse.
Moving along to shorebirds.
That's as long as you don't have to put on the red light. We want them to put on the
Oh,
red light.
oh,
I did receive a report from Brianna Frankel. She's the Southwest Critical Wildlife Area Biologist for Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. And just to recap everything, she said only about a third of the least turned colony is returned thus far. She's talking about the south end of the island. So while it may not look like many birds are using the postings, we expect another 200 to 300 to return shortly. For the black skimmers, only about 10% of their colony has returned, and they haven't started nesting yet. She said there's they heard the concerns about the property owners, the stakeholders down on the south end, about the size of the nesting area. And she said, we are going to try and shrink it down throughout the season, if and when possible, based on the current nest sites. Additionally, with little beachgoer presence, the birds have spread out on the beach, but that doesn't mean the same thing will happen next year. So it's kind of like with fewer people, the birds spread out, which makes the area bigger, but they said whenever possible, they will try and bring it back in when the birds are there. But as she said earlier, a lot of the birds aren't there. There are accessible walkways along both edges of the colony, and there's a walkway through the colony towards the eastern side, toward the CWA, that is only possible because no birds have nested within a certain distance of the walkway or within the walkway at this time. She said, thank you for your continued support in managing the survival of such an important species.
do you have a date on that, Dave, or?
I think she sent that to me last Friday.
Okay, thank you.
So we are, again, I would just like to say that Fort Myers Beach is unique in Florida in that we have 4 endangered species all nesting here at the same time, which it's a snowy plover, oyster catcher, least tern, and black skimmers. And there's no other place in Florida that has all 4 types of birds nesting in our area, so we are very unique and excited, and we all want to try and work to ensure that the all of the birds, including, I missed the snowy plovers, and they're here too, have a successful nesting season. As I've always said, we want to try and live in balance with the people we share the beach with, and because the birds like to use it during low population times, we can all work to share in their success. So I just wanted to give that report to the,
And then, I was so excited, when the posting happened last week, boom, the skimmers and the terns came immediately. It was like, they know, they wait for the posting. Isn't that bizarre? We had none.
You have
I
to
took
put the signs
pictures.
out so they know where to go.
yeah.
What?
You have to put the signs out so they know where to go.
I know.
and
I
Sharon-
couldn't, I just honestly was amazed.
Sharon, I might add also, I don't know if you've been out, but when I met with Brianna last Thursday,
Oh,
one of the very first nests is behind your condominium.
okay. A snowy plover or?
Snowy
I
plover.
looked, I couldn't see any. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's, they were in the process of roping that particular nest off.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the first one that I've seen on the south end or where our properties are.
Okay.
I don't know, Dave, have you seen any of that? I don't-
Not any yet, no.
Okay.
But we've had a considerable increase in the use of our beach compared to last year. Last year, we barely had anyone there, and this year, we've actually had daily people. There's a lot of beach umbrellas and chairs that are going up in the morning, and they're all filled. So I'm sure that's going to die off now that we're getting into May, as normally happens. But we had a huge surge through the month of April, just beach population down on the 6,000 area.
Okay.
So that probably had a little bit to do with pushing them further south towards a critical wildlife area. So, okay, any other? All right, thank you, everybody. This brings us to members' items. Bill, anything you want to bring up?
I need to finish up what I started with the FWC about compaction. I haven't made any headway in the last 2 weeks, but hopefully next ARF committee I will have something for you.
So on that, if I may touch on it, I know you included me on your communications with our coastal engineer.
Yeah.
Did you understand the gist of what he was saying, or did you have any questions on that?
I think he referenced another name that I haven't tracked down yet.
Right. So he typically deals with compactions on beach projects, beach nourishment projects, because FWC requires us to till it to a depth, and then he verifies the pressure with the cone penetrometer to make sure that we're meeting the state spec for that beach to make it sea turtle friendly for nesting. The raking issue, or to see compaction or any effects of raking, positive or negative, from on the beach from the raking. I'm not sure you're going to get answers from the state on that necessarily. What they regulate is more the tire to ground pressure. Everybody sees the 10 psi or as a tire pressure. It's not a tire pressure. It's the weight of the vehicle, the surface area of the tires, and getting that ground to, or the vehicle to ground pressure is what FDEP is gonna regulate. So my point is that you may not get your answer there, but I do understand, the gist of, your question, and, I think it's something that you would need to basically go and measure yourself or ourselves, or to see raked and non-rake areas, if there's an effect, and what is that effect.
Well, you have that equipment.
I do not. I do not have a cone penetrometer. I've talked to, our coastal engineer about it, and, I can look into the cost and get that to you to see if it's something that's, worth investing in, but,
I've mentioned it to town staff as well, management, to look into it.
Because what we're really trying to solve is to have a set of rules that we can talk to people about to stop the harassment of the beach raiders.
sure. Yeah, data-driven management is, always encouraged.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Is it true, I have a question, Chad, while we're on this subject. Something that I was questioned about last week, last Sunday, by one of the Turtle Time ladies. They mentioned that it's possible that it's not actually an over-compaction issue, that it is possible to have an under-compaction issue, where the sand is too soft, or there's not enough compaction, and that when it rains, the turtle nests, the tops of them cave in like an hourglass. Is that accurate?
I can get back to you on it. I feel, I wanna say, yeah, that's possible, and, it's kinda like that mine sand feels a little bit looser and doesn't quite hold as well as the finer grain native sand. So that kind of lack of compactability, issue with that, maybe, I mean, it's,
I did a little research after the conversation that I had, with the Turtle Town lady, and it seems that when the mama turtle makes the hole,
Mhm.
that she pushes the sides out
Mhm.
and the mouth of the hole,
Mhm.
and actually compacts the sand to her liking. So,
yeah, I mean, they've survived for millions of years for a reason, they know what they're doing.
yeah, I was just wondering if the under compaction, I can understand where over compaction would be an issue, because it makes it difficult to dig. But I'm wondering if there is actually an issue with, if the sand is slightly under compacted.
I can ask the question, but the other thing to remember is the number one thing that compacts sand is water. It
Right.
just makes it like concrete. So, and these nests are laid during rainy season, so, and that's why we have that's why they go and seek the higher sand in the dunes. And that must be kind of a happy medium of getting rained on, but staying dry enough so that the eggs survive, they don't drown out, and, probably a compaction factor in there as well, that's the sweet spot.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Bill? Okay, Sharon.
Okay, so last month, when I was heatedly talking about my burn being gone, I brought up Bill Perry, okay? And I think I presented him in a negative light, and I do not want to say it that way, because he's been a friend of mine for 20 years, and he does a beautiful job on our beach constantly. He's got a lot of information, he's careful, he's everything. So I'm just openly apologizing for having put him in a bad light. He's not, he's my friend, and I needed to stay that way.
Okay,
That's me.
anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Leo?
I have nothing at this point.
Okay, I only have one thing, and for the record, being involved in a massive project, in my own right on the beach, I have to, state for the record what a tremendous job Chad has done on the beach renourishment. it's been a massive project. I was at the meeting several years ago, before Ian, where the Leonardo Arms board presidents came in and were begging the town council to do something because they said the next storm is going to severely damage and cripple our complex. And the next storm came in and severely damaged and crippled their complex. And the, I guess, tenacity of Chad in getting the funding, getting the beach put back together on both the north and south ends has been a tremendous asset for the island. So on behalf of the committee, thank you
Yeah.
for your efforts, Chad.
Absolutely, Chad.
Thank you. Y'all are welcome. It is a team effort. You know, we have a great coastal engineer with the town. Michael Poff has been a great resource. I know our contractors had their challenges, but you know, it's not an easy business. And as well as Lee County staff has provided a lot of technical assistance and guidance. You know, just phone calls and talking things out. So I appreciate, and you know, he gave me goosebumps. I appreciate it.
Roxanne.
And that's all I had. So, staff update. You're up, Chad.
So, where are we at on the beach project? We are down south on the south segment, very important segment that we added some years back to the project, and I know everyone is happy. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. Never speak in absolutes, right? A lot of people are happy to see that sand out there. It's a great thing. Unfortunately, we did have to resort to trucking. I was really looking forward to getting that native sand out there, but you know, the trucking sand, it's not the worst thing. It works. It'll blend in, and ICS has done a great job. You know, lining up those trucks, as I'm sure you've all seen, and making the best use of that staging area. A big thanks to Miss Jo Butterfield, I believe is her last name. Sometimes I say Butterworth, sometimes I say Butterfield. I think it's Butterfield. Miss Jo, her and all of the private property owners who have selflessly offered up their properties. I know your neighbor, Mr. Kurt. I mean, there's so many. I mean, we really, whenever we get this project done, we need to recognize all of these property owners who, at no benefit to themselves and a tremendous public benefit, have offered up their properties to stage multiple beach projects that we've been involved in for the last 2+ years, nearly 3 years now. So, anyway, back to an update. So, big project. It's down south. That area, that shoreline is closed off. Please stay out of the caution tape area. Stay away from the pipe and all of the wet sand that is around that pipe. You will sink very quickly. It's dangerous. Stay away from the bulldozers that are moving and the piles and all that good stuff. So we're down there. We have gotten some positive information or positive feedback from FDEP and FWC, and we're expecting an update to our permit to extend our time that we can work down there, and that is a testament to you know, our engineer, our contractor, and town staff doing the right thing by the wildlife, managing the project appropriately, following the conditions of the project permit. Whenever you do things right, people trust you, and they trust us to finish it right. We've employed, or the contractor at their cost has employed additional bird monitors. And just as a side note, everybody knows that truck sand is very expensive. I think the effective rate for the dredge sand is around $25, and contracts that come forward with truck sand are anywhere from $70 to $100 a cubic yard. So it is a tremendous cost that our contractor is paying for out of their pocket, millions of dollars. to get this project done as soon as possible. So thank you to Aetna for recognizing the challenge that we're up against and, you know, doing what needed to be done to get it done. After this south segment, we will be moving to the central segment, and we'll wait and see what our permit says with regards to our timeline on that. We have about 200,000 cubic yards to pump in the central segment. It's a very long shoreline, so you would expect more for that length of shoreline, but we're mostly going to be putting sand from the erosion control line seaward, just due to folks not signing up for the easement and not participating in the project, and the town council's decision to, instead of building up and creating a low spot landward of the project, just to build out, so there won't be much of an elevation. We won't get the full design there, but we will be building out and extending the width of the beach.
Do you
On
have-
that, do you have an idea of where that's going to occur on the central part?
When we're gonna break back and move and start pumping the central,
Yeah,
I would anticipate in the next week or two.
And-
I would say at least by mid-May, if not sooner.
and roughly street-wise or location-wise on the island?
So we're gonna be going from Red Coconut is about where they stopped. If you walk that beach, you'll see a significant change in elevation around there, and that's where they stopped, and we'll start building from there, working their way south
To about Ledark?
to about Lanark.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So we'll see how it goes. Production should increase because they're getting a lot closer to the dredge. So instead of pumping, 7 miles or 9 miles or whatever it is, they'll be pumping, 3, 4, 5 miles and working their way, and adding those boosters incrementally rather than, part of the issue with the mechanical issues is that, because of the triple header of storms, we got pushed back, and then all of a sudden it's a rush to add, all of a sudden you're adding 2, 3 boosters right away and trying to pump, and the storms on top of the mechanical issues to do that very quickly rather than incrementally presented some challenges. So we do expect production to increase and hopefully give us a little bit quicker beach building on the central.
Do you have a time frame on the update for the beach closure? Because I think originally it was loosely based on today being the last day, or?
Right, so, we should update that. I will get with Nicole and get a public service announcement out. And, again, we should be out of the south segment completely demobilized by mid-May, if not sooner. It just depends on production, weather, mechanical. I hate even giving days these days. I mean,
Sure,
I mean, how many
sure.
times, you can always finish on time if you extend the deadline, so.
So, Chad, I walked the beach a couple weeks ago and saw the mound by Red Coconut, the drop about a couple of feet, actually, it's a foot and a half, a couple of feet. But further south of there, in the water, there was what we call a loggerhead sticking out in low tide, but it's not sticking out in high tide. Can that, something be done with that at all? Cause it's a danger, is what I'm getting at.
Tree stump?
It's a tree stump or pole or something stuck in the water.
Yeah, I'll go and ride the beach at low tide and see, and we can
See if you find it, yeah.
either wrap a chain around it and try and yank it out, or maybe get our water debris contractor to maybe go and yank it out.
It's in that central area is where it is. So, and the beach does look nice. I mean, you did a great job with everything, so it looks great.
Thank you. I wish I could take all the credit, but it's definitely a team effort. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That big steam shovel could pull it out. Wrap a chain around the big steam shovel and then,
Is that the
Pulls.
bulldozer? Is
Yeah.
that Wisconsin speak for a bulldozer?
Yeah.
Steam shovel?
well, it's the one, the big hook, it's,
Oh, the excavator.
that's,
Gotcha.
that's a steam shovel in
Gotcha.
Wisconsin.
Gotcha. I hadn't heard that one yet.
I call it the scuba.
But I understood exactly what he said,
Me
because
too.
I still call it a steam shovel.
Gotcha.
Yeah?
Okay, learn something new every day. Just another update. So we have our waterway debris project going on. That last day was yesterday by the contract. We are gonna go back to council and ask for a few more days. No more money would be spent on the not to exceed, but they're still pulling out a lot, and we've budgeted to go up to that, so we're looking to keep pulling out debris while we have the budgeted funds to do it. And then our harbor master is preparing a kind of a status, canal by canal, and we're gonna discuss with FEMA kind of where we're at. And unfortunately, these canals are just, they collect a lot of garbage. I mean, anything that's blowing around or gets kicked around or whatever over, with these storms, flooded out, has ended up in those canals. And while we could keep on collecting debris forever, the intent is to restore navigation and get any debris that is within in the navigational channel of the canals to that's within -3 feet of the lowest drafting. -3 feet mean low water. How do I say this? So you have your deepest drafting vessel within 3 feet of that deepest drafting vessel at mean low water. Is the kind of the criteria in the Papa G, which is the FEMA guidebook. So that's our mission. And my point is while we could keep on collecting, there's going to be more debris in there, but our purpose, our mission is to restore navigation. So we'll get a status update on navigation and how our harbor master feels about that, and go back to FEMA, see how they feel about it, and then present that to council and see how they feel about either funding additional collection or not, just depending on our feedback from FEMA.
Okay.
I could keep going on. I don't know. Nah, I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask, just, the cost for trucking was $75 per cubic yard, and how much was dredge?
The effective rate for the dredge is around $25 a cubic yard, and trucking, it can be a lot more than $100 a cubic yard, especially if you're doing it by a single truck where you're only getting, maybe 18 cubic yards. I don't even know what the going rate is these days. $900. I'm not sure. So it's not cheap to truck, but whenever we're doing these high volume projects, depending on the bid, depending on the contract, around $70 to $100. But Atna is giving that truck sand to us at the contract price of approximately $25 a cubic yard. So they are taking a big loss.
Oh, that's great. Oh.
Okay. Any other questions for Chad?
No, but I'm at Estero Beach and Tennis renting now, and they've moved on, all the sand.
Finally, right?
It is absolutely fantastic. It
Okay.
is, it goes out, and when you're sitting looking out, you can only see half a person, so they've raised it. They've raised the sand a lot. We're going to see half of the person's walking. And then now they're at Leonardo Arms. They're already done with everybody else, so it's good.
Yeah, some very thick sections there. I mean, when you think about over 10,000 cubic yards per 100 feet of shoreline, it's a lot of sand that got put in front of there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And also some other good news, we should be putting out our ITB next week. I think May 8th was the date.
ITB?
Invitation to bid for the planting, sorry.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Thank you, Chad.
Yes, thank you, Chad.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're now down to public comment.
Good.
Okay, please give your name.
Yeah, Michael Thornton, 21541 Madeira Road. We're building there. We're not living there, but we're building there.
Oh,
Just something I want to share with the task force. Our HOA president happened to be at a meeting where Congressman Donald was at. This was maybe a week or so ago, and he had the opportunity to ask him about federal funding for canal dredging. And Congressman Donald asked John to follow up with his office, which he did. And so the response he got, this is from Mercedes Price Harry, who is the district director for Congressman Donalds. And this is certainly not new information for probably any of you. Thank you for the additional insight. Unfortunately, the project isn't eligible for FEMA funding, and the city would need to make a formal appropriations request in order to receive federal funding. The window for submission opens in the beginning of February, March, and just closed last week. The city of Fort Myers Beach has many requests this round, but none include the funding for dredging of canals, and I assume you all know that. She said that she will flag the DC team in case there is an opportunity for an infrastructure bill in the near future. If there is something like that, she will get back to us. So just I'd pass that along.
Okay, thank you.
It was just
Sure.
he happened to be at the meeting, and, you know, he's very interested in the health of our canal, and so he asked Congressman the question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to share that letter? So that we
Let me check with John
Yes.
Munger, our HOA president, and if he's good with it, I'll pass it on to
Send it to Chad. please.
Chad. I have his email.
Okay.
One other thing, I'm only at the beach maybe 2 or 3 days a week, but I think it was last week I noticed that some new light poles were installed, 3 on Madeira Road and 3 on Williams Drive, and they look like they have turtle lights on them. And my question is, first, we didn't know that was gonna happen. Is that happening up and down the beach?
Yeah, this is part of
Okay.
the new lighting project that FPL is putting in. That
Okay,
is supposed to be turtle light compliant.
yeah, right, okay. I was just curious, cause we weren't aware of it, maybe we just missed the communication, I'm not sure, but,
Yeah, it's been advertised, but apologies for not getting to you.
yeah, that's fine. Now, we do have some streetlights that are not turtle friendly. Are they gonna remain, are they gonna?
My understanding, the poles will remain, but my understanding is all streetlights will be,
Compliant,
friendly.
yeah.
Will be amber.
Converted.
Gotcha, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you sitting through the meeting. Okay. Any other public comments? Seeing no one here, I'll close public comment. Okay, next on the agenda is the MERTF Award. Does anyone have anybody they'd like to nominate this month? I'd like to throw Chad out, but he can't
We'd all
get
like
it
to throw
because-
Chad out.
Were you gonna throw them?
No, I think there's a, I don't think you can put staff on as a MERTF Award recipient, but that would be, an accolade. He's done a great job, and I mean that sincerely, Chad.
I appreciate
And
it.
I can back
Yes.
that up, from
I-
our condo's perspective, every question I've asked, Chad's had the answer.
Same with me, same
So
with me.
he's done a great job.
Appreciate it.
So you can, having no nominations right now, will.
Am I
table
allowed
it.
to make a nomination?
Sure.
I don't know if I can nominate y'all. That may be the same kind of conflict of interest, but I just want to thank the Little Estero Island, what is it, nonprofit would be the right way to say it?
Oh, the Friends of Little Australia.
Friends of Little Estero Island, I'm sorry. Thank you for funding the FWC signs. I know the FWC Shorebird staff appreciates Mr. Rude's charitable purchasing of the signs. We're working through some permitting issues with the structure that he constructed, and we're gonna get that on the get with FDEP and FWC to make sure everybody's on board. But we now have some great educational signs. They're basically what FWC had before. But I guess it's an act of Congress for them to get funding and get things out there, and we could do it quick. I should say we, but Mr. Ed could do it quick and get it out there. And I truly appreciate, the community and town staff synergy to get something done that needed to be done.
Okay.
So that, I don't know if you're aware that those CWA big,
Those
Yeah.
were the same signs that you brought in
yeah,
a
They
year.
They were erected right after Ian, within 4
Yeah.
or 5 months after Ian, but then,
Helene and Milton, yeah.
Helene and one, who knows, they were gone after Milton. And so, anyway, we raised the money to replace the signs again, and then this time, we, also provided the material to construct the framework in the manner that it was, constructed originally by FWC. And so, I got the information from FWC, and everything was done, to their, specifications or measurements, or whatever it is, whatever you wanna call it anyway. And so they are back now, originally like they were, pre-Ian.
Okay.
As they were constructed back in 2008 or 2010 or something.
Well, nominating you might be a little disingenuous, but the Little Estero, what is it, the Little Estero,
The Friends of Little Estero Island.
Friends of Little Estero Island nonprofit would certainly be a recipient for the Murph Award, and given the recommendation and acknowledgement from staff, I would like to make the recommendation that the Friends of Little Estero Island not-profit receive the Murph Award this
And
month.
I would second that.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, I have one on the floor. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor for the Murph Award as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for the thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, I
You're
agree.
welcome.
I
Well,
agree.
that'll be great. I'll make sure it gets posted on
That's
the,
wonderful.
the group page, so that everyone knows. We have almost 500 members, and probably, I would say 90% of them are actual, either residents or people that stay on the island during season. So they have a vested interest, and they do kind of pay attention to what goes on down there.
Good. Excellent. Okay. That being done, agenda for next meeting. Anybody want to throw anything out?
Chad,
Okay, probably just to follow up on the, beach renourishment and where we are, cause that is a big issue.
Okay, yeah, we can place that as an agenda item.
Okay,
Hopefully we're done.
and then we should have some, nominations coming back from the Mulholland Award. And I don't know, normally they put a 30-day limit on that. Do we want to extend it out an additional amount of time? Or call it just for a 30-day nomination? In the past, they had 30 days. What does the committee think?
You wanna keep it open? If you're unsure, you're gonna get, numerous responses?
Let's just take a look at the number. We'll put it up for discussion, and we can either extend it or not, but we should put it, this is just an agenda item. So we should put that on as an agenda item. The other thing I would like to talk about, and I kind of shot you an email, and I don't want to put you on the spot on this, but again, with all of the construction going on the island, I think we should have numerous paint collection times for
Hazardous waste.
people, so that we can get rid of excess paint, excess stain, excess whatever, because there's a lot of construction going on, and if we can get like twice a month, dumps or able to remove the excess, I think that would help a lot of people on the island and help keep the environment, a lot of, from it going into an empty sand lot, so on and so forth. Not that people would do that, but
Yeah, I'll see if we can get and revive the hazardous waste collection of days past and try and revive that practice.
okay, I'd like to put that in so we can at least discuss it and announce it to the people if we can get something set up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
good idea.
Do we have a date for our next meeting?
It should be the second
The 11th then? June
Wednesday
11th?
of June,
June 11th.
June 11th. All right. June 11th it is. And with that, we've reached the end of our agenda, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Wow, 11:07.
What time is it?
I'll second it.
We got time for, a little time before lunch.
Yeah,
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
motion's made. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful